for commitment anyway. So it really
I
wasn't.
really wasn't. No,
Okay.
I just felt free, and I just wanted to make a lot of friends.
Mm-hmm.
Just practice. I was more in a practice mode. Just
Okay.
yeah,
What
more
was out there?
practice. Yeah.
So Vita, when I got divorced, I had been married for almost 12 years when I got
Hmm.
divorced.
Hmm.
And I got married as a very young 20 something.
Hmm.
So I really didn't have a lot of experience.
Hmm.
So when I got out, I really didn't understand. And this is the other thing too. When I got out of my marriage, it was Facebook everything, right? So
Wow.
social media was already, just kind of like the thing that everyone did, and it was part of the dating culture.
Hmm.
And I didn't really understand that or how to navigate that.
Right.
So
Right.
for me, getting out of a marriage, still, when you first get out of a marriage, you are really still in marriage minded mode sometimes,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're thinking the things that you did in that relationship, these are the things that is expected of you in
Hmm.
these new relationships. That
Right.
was for me. And
Hmm.
so I would get out and I would say, okay, if we're dating, then we're dating. And so what is all this other stuff that's going on? Like you not
Right.
calling me back and you missing for a couple of days. Like what is that
Right.
about, right?
Right. Right.
And so I didn't really I don't know. I didn't really know how to navigate that.
Hmm.
And I feel that there are certain men that took advantage of that. Did you run into any of that?
I did run into a lot of that.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, some guys would just disappear, wouldn't call, and then they would reappear and want to pick up where they left off. And I'm like, why? Like, how do you do that?
Right.
Because when you're married, you have constant communication.
Right.
But it seems like with dating in the dating scene, this
Hmm.
average, most of the men, yeah, they would just be so inconsistent with their communication.
That was it.
Yeah, very inconsistent, and it was confusing for me.
Hmm.
So I became very frustrated, and so
Hmm.
I took just past 3 years. I actually took a break.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Yeah, I took
About that.
I took, I took a break because I just needed to focus on myself and just say,
Yeah.
Vita, like, what do you really want? Because in the dating scene, there's such a variety of personalities
Right.
you come in contact with.
Hmm.
Let me just clear out.
Yeah.
I had to get rid of all the noise and the confusion.
Hmm.
It was stressing me out.
Yeah.
You know?
'Cause it gets to be a little bit much because
Hmm.
the intentions aren't clear.
Right.
The intentions aren't clear. So I tried. Okay, so my husband was older than me,
Hmm.
and so after I was divorced, I tried my age. I said, okay, I'm going to date people that are my age.
Hmm.
Um, and I found out that they were still very much in that, running around, just not real serious kind of mindset.
Hmm.
Um, and I think for me, getting out of my marriage, I wasn't like you. I didn't want to play.
Hmm.
I wanted something stable because my kids were still small at the
Right.
time. So I was like, if you're
Hmm.
going to be in my life, I really want something that's stable.
Hmm.
But mind you, I was like 38. I wasn't quite 40 yet.
Hmm.
And so I was confused by the men that were coming into my space because I felt that I was very clear about what I was looking for.
Hmm.
And they were saying the things that I needed to hear, but also not really doing those things. So the words and the actions just weren't meeting up, which is confusing because you're like,
Uh, yes.
you said,
But it's, with James Brown, that song, Talking Loud, Saying Nothing,
saying nothing.
that's a lot of that.
Yes, yes, a lot of that. And I just didn't understand it. So I said, okay, so if I'm going to date men that are emotionally immature anyway, I
Mm-hmm.
might as well go younger, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
might as well see what that's like. So
Yes.
I did date younger, and I dated someone for 2 years that was 10 years younger than me.
Oh.
And by this time, I'm well into my 40s.
Hmm.
And what I realized from that relationship is that, oh no, honey, you can't do that either because these boys want babies.
Right.
Right. When you're
Yes.
40s, they want babies in their 30s still. And
Yes, they do.
they're going, well, why can't we have babies? Like, what's wrong with you? You still got your ovaries, you still got
Right, right,
what's the
right, right.
problem? And for me, I was just like, yeah, that's just a conversation that it's a non-starter. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's just
Yeah.
a non-starter. There's nothing I can do with that at all.
I don't understand why they want to have babies and no commitment.
Well, this is the thing. These younger boys did want commitment.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. So it's these 40-year-olds that are going through a midlife crisis that don't want to commit.
Okay, got it.
These 30
Okay.
year olds or these 30 somethings are looking to start their lives, their families, right?
Yeah,
So
that's right.
it really just came down to where I said, I think you really need to find someone your own age who is
Yeah.
baby rearing age, right? They
Yes,
still
yes,
baby
yes.
rearing hips,
And the patience and all
right? And they can
that.
take it, right? I can't. My kids are almost out. I don't want to do that again.
Right, right,
I'm just
right,
not
right.
there. So
Yeah,
I tried that. So I said, okay, my age doesn't work. Younger doesn't work. It just doesn't. It's just not where I'm at in my life.
got
So
it.
recently I've been thinking, and tell me how you feel about this. Recently
Mhm.
I've been dating people that are more, that are a little older, not way older, but, a
Right.
little bit older, maybe not as old as my ex-husband, um, but are kind of in the same life space as me, where their children have graduated. Because this is the other thing too. Most women have their children in their 20s and 30s,
Right.
but these men have babies all the way up until they're 50 sometimes,
Exactly.
right?
Hmm.
So you have these men in their 40s that are still like, they might have a 2-year old.
Right, right,
Just
right,
like, no.
right, right.
But the men that are a little bit older, maybe in their 50s, I'm saying that they're kind of at the end where they have teenagers or
Hmm.
their kids are in college, and they're not looking for what, some of these other men are looking for.
Right.
So do you find that? Have you found that the men that are a little bit older are kind of at that same stage as you?
Yeah, I do agree with you a lot. Men that are in their 50s, early 60s are more settled, are looking at like a travel buddy.
Yes.
Yeah, just focusing on making plans for their future, maybe another career or retirement, whatever it is,
Hmm.
business. So I am more attracted to that type of mindset.
So you're looking for a partner. So that's a good transition because
Hmm.
this is a conversation that I've been having a lot lately.
Hmm.
So what we want versus what they think we want.
Okay.
So let's talk about what kind of partner are you looking for? What are you looking to do with that partner? What do you hope for out of that relationship?
Gosh, just, clarity, someone that's grounded and purposeful, and just have, a clear cut plan. Like, I'm looking for someone who has experienced success in their career.
Hmm.
Not that, if you haven't had success, that's not an issue. It's like, currently, are you trying to strive towards whatever, however you decide, define success? Just be goal oriented and just a little bit more settled. That's what I'm
Right.
for.
So
Yeah.
not the I'm gonna be, I'm trying to be, I'm working on, right? But be who you are. That's what I would say. I need you at this point to be who you are. And I get a
Yes.
lot of flack for that. I get a lot of, and mostly from women that say,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's not fair. Like, what if, he's just on his hustle and he's just trying to get some stuff started? And I'm going, that's fine, but you have to have established something already
Yes.
and be working towards who you want to be. Like you got to be who you are at this point.
Exactly.
right?
You
And
got to have that established history.
exactly. So I don't mind that you're starting a business. That's fine. Like, oh,
Right.
I'm starting a new business. That's great. But you know who you are, right? You already
Mm-hmm.
have decided this is who I am. This is my life. And if this
Right.
business doesn't work, that's fine. I still have
Mm-hmm.
my life set up,
Exactly.
right? I
Exactly.
think that's what we're looking for now. And this whole conversation about, oh, women don't want to help a man get to their level, that is for 20-year-olds.
Right. Exactly.
You
Exactly.
got to be at your level. I have kids in college. I cannot help you get to your level. I'm trying to help them get to their level.
Exactly, exactly. You can't expect us to groom you and mold and shape you into some whatever you want to be. Yeah, you got to come to the table
Yeah,
with with a resume.
with the resume. I'm going to tell you the funny thing, and I might cut this out, but the
Okay.
funny thing about the last relationship, the relationship I was in with the younger person,
Hmm.
when we broke up, and it was, it was a mutual decision that, it was just, we were in two different places in our lives.
Hmm.
But when we broke up, his mother sent me a Facebook message and said, "Thank you for turning my son into a man."
Wow.
And at that moment, I appreciated, she's a sweet woman, and I appreciated that message. However, at that moment, I said, I am done building men.
Yes.
I'm done.
Period. Yes. We can't raise them.
No, it's not our job.
It is not our responsibility.
No.
So,
And
yeah.
the things that you have to go through in order to build a man,
Right.
the things that
Right.
we have to
Right.
endure, the patience we have to have, right?
Yes.
The
Yes.
things that we
Yes.
have to just hold our tongue about because they're just not quite there yet.
Right.
I'm
Ex-
over that. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do that.
I'm with you. Have you seen Indian Matchmaker on Netflix?
I watched one episode of it.
Well, that matchmaker, she looks at the resume, and these families really want wholesome, successful young men. Sometimes they're in their
Yeah.
30s, they want to see what they bring to the table. Why can't we all function that way when it comes to relationships?
We should. And I don't really
Yes.
understand. Okay, so let me
Okay.
put a caveat. So I
Hmm.
understand in your 20s, in your 30s, you're trying to build, you're still trying to build. I always
Right.
tell the young women that I coach and that I mentor,
Hmm.
in your 20s, you need to figure out what it is that you like, right? Figure
Yes.
out what
Yes.
you like. That's what that's
Yeah.
about. And
Yeah.
this is, career, life, relationship, everything. In your 20s,
Hmm.
you need to experiment a lot, figure out what it is that you actually like, and figure out, okay, this is kind of what I want. So when you create a plan, the plan makes sense for you, right?
Right.
That it's
Right.
not just a plan that you put on paper when you were 19 and got out of high school and said, all right, this is going to be
Right.
my life, but I'm going to experiment a lot and figure out what I like.
Hmm.
In your 30s, that should be about building. That's when you buy a house. That's when, you start figuring out, this is the mate that I want to have.
Right.
This is what I want my
Right.
life to look like. So you're building money
Hmm.
at that point, right?
Hmm.
Money is
Hmm.
important. You need to figure out how much money you want to make and
Yeah.
start build. But you're not going to be making the money you want to make in your 30s. You're just building
Right.
up to that. By the
Hmm.
time you're 40, you need to know what you like, have
Yeah.
your stuff,
Yeah.
have your stuff,
Right.
right? That goes
Right.
for men and
Right.
women. Have your stuff.
Yes.
Know
Yes.
who you are, what you
Yes.
will and what you will not tolerate,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Hmm.
And in your 40s, that is the time that you go, okay, now I'm cutting the things that don't serve me.
Absolutely.
These things got to go. Take those things off
Right.
your plate, you know?
Right. You do,
So,
yeah. In your 40s, you understand clearly your values. You've streamlined your morals. I mean, you really can focus more on your character building.
right.
But by your 40s, you should have cleaned up your credit score.
Yeah.
You know, you
All
should,
these little things.
yeah,
Need to
tidy up your
be,
finances, etc.
yeah, they need to start being important. And I would say I'm on the, I'm on the later side of the 40s, so I'm closer to my 50s. And I
Hmm.
think by the time you're 50, those things need to be taken care of, wrapped up nice in a box, right?
Right.
And so now you can focus on, this is just me. I don't know, it's not for
Mhm.
everybody, but for me, I want to focus on travel,
Yes.
I want to focus
Yes.
on investments,
Right.
right? So the partner that I
Right.
have, I want somebody that is, business minded. This is just me, right? Everybody has their
Hmm.
own list, but I'm looking for
Hmm.
somebody who's business minded, who wants
Hmm.
to see the world, wants to travel, get more stamps in their passport. I want somebody
Right.
who wants to experience life with me without all of the building pieces
Right.
that we should have already done.
Exactly. Exactly. I hear you. I agree with you on that. I do want to explore the world with someone. Um, Focus on, some maybe some hobbies, some creativity, but not focus on, you know, what I should be doing. It just seems like you should be able to be in a more enjoyable state of your life,
Right.
and reaping from all that hard work you put in your 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Yep.
So I agree with you. I
Yeah.
really want a partner who's focused and knows exactly what he wants,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, and not just constantly looking and looking,
So
you
what
know.
do you think what do you think when you when you meet someone and you're talking and they start telling you about how, they just trying to build, like they're trying to, get their life together and they're just trying to build. At this age, like how do you respond to a man that is just like, I just need somebody to hold me down?
You know, I would just keep it like, it's nice to meet you, let's be Facebook buddies, you know. I'll follow you on Instagram. But yeah, that to me is just, it's not attractive. I understand everyone's in different phases of their lives and there's no judgment, but I need clarity. I need someone who's grounded. I just require that type
Yeah.
of stabilization because that's what I offer. And
That's what, wait, say that again. That's what you,
that's what I offer.
amen.
Is the stability and the knowingness. And so I really need reciprocation.
Yes.
So if I'm offering stability to you and certainty, then I need it to be reflected back to me.
Right. I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so important that we are clear about our intentions so that other people aren't confused
Yeah.
about what we're looking for, right?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if you ever tried online dating, but I did online
Yes.
dating for a while. So you did, okay. So I did, and I'm not going to say it was all bad. I did meet
Right.
some decent people. I did Black People Meet, and I also did Match.com.
Okay.
So I did meet some decent people, mostly on Black People Meet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, I find that the environment is one of two things. For me, this was my experience.
Mm-hmm.
One of two things. It's feast or famine. So
Mm-hmm.
I would meet someone and they were either trying to fast walk me to the altar.
Right.
And I was like, hold up, bro, wait a minute. I don't even know if I want that from you. Uh,
Right.
or they were entertaining so many women that they couldn't focus.
Right.
That was
Right.
my experience. What was your experience with online dating?
Similar to that, there was just a lot of profiles online dating that were just phony. I would exchange phone numbers or would email the other person, and all of a sudden their profile would disappear. You know, or I would meet men and they would tell me about their business and they were using the system, the dating, the online system as advertisement.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, schedule an appointment. And, you know, I was like, for their services, whatever the services were. But so it was just too much of a variety of nonsense. You know, it just, yeah. But most of the time, it just seemed like a lot of men were juggling several women.
Yeah.
That's mostly what I experienced.
Truly.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, for me, it was just, okay, let me say this. Let me be fair. To be
Okay.
fair, most of
Okay.
the men that I met were trying to get married.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There were, there were some that were, like I said, they hit the lottery and they were just juggling a bunch of women.
Right.
Most of the men, at least the ones that I entertained, were trying to
Mm-hmm.
get married. And to their credit, they were doing the things that they needed to do to establish permanency. And I realized that I was not ready for that.
Got it.
Through the process.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe, I'm not going to say I'm not ready for marriage, but I think I'm at a place in my life where, my business is very successful. And we're still growing, right? I have
That's great.
I have a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm married to my work, kind of, right?
Right.
So a man has a hard time coming in and competing with that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Right.
when I say I'm married to my work, literally that takes precedence. So, getting together with you for dinner, while it's nice, it's not a priority for me.
Got it.
And so in order to circumvent that, I found that many men would try to insert themselves into that part of my life.
Oh,
And what I would say is that you cannot come into places I have not invited you into.
got it.
And
Mm-hmm.
that would start that struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So because
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to set up some dominance somewhere in my life.
Right.
And because it's just like if there was another man in my life, right? And they're competing for that space.
Right.
So
Right.
now they're competing with my business. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, you're never gonna win. Like you're never gonna win. This is always gonna take precedent.
Right.
So
Right.
give me a second.
Okay.
So when I want to say something, I literally say exactly what I'm thinking. I don't clean it up. I
Mm-hmm.
don't fix
Okay.
it. I don't try to make
Mm-hmm.
it. I don't try to make it palatable.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I know that about myself. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I just don't say anything
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want it to come across as rude,
Yeah.
or disrespectful.
Right.
So just to give you an example, if somebody says to me, "Hey, call me," right,
Mm-hmm.
and they give me their phone number, which has happened in
Right.
DMs.
Mm-hmm.
My response to them is usually, "Why would I call you?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't know you. There's absolutely no reason for me to call you. Why would I call you?" Right?
Right.
That's my
And how,
response.
and how do they respond to you?
Right. And so their response is, "You don't have to be so rude." But I don't know how else to say this to you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like I don't get the whole DM thing. If I did not ask you to DM me, why are you DMing me?
Exactly. It's unsolicited. I don't get it either.
Yeah,
But
it's very
they're
silly.
prideful, right?
Yeah,
They're prideful and
they're
they
vulgar.
demand. Yeah, they're vulgar and they're demanding.
What in the world? Like, why? What gives you the right to be demanding?
I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, as if we owe them something. And they're absolute strangers. I'm confused about it. Can you help a sister out with this
It's
one? Because
it's
I
very
don't understand.
it's crazy. I think it goes back to what we were saying earlier. I feel like some men, not all men, I feel
No.
like some men are operating from a 20 and 30-year-old mindset. And so what worked on 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, they're trying on us 40 and 50-year-olds
Right.
and getting hit with something they're not expecting. And so
True.
now we're rude because we don't tolerate it. I'm like, bruh. Okay, we have somebody that joined us. Who is that? Is that Dorothy?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Hey, girlfriend. For some
Hello.
reason, it's your phone number, and I really don't want your phone number up here. So
Okay.
how do we? So go into participants, and don't worry, I'll cut this part out. If you click,
I've just called in. Let me
you called in. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Can you go into video and just not share your picture?
Yep.
Okay, let's do that because I don't want people to have your phone number, girl.
Right.
Are you sure about that?
There you go, gorgeous. All right, so then let's hang up this one. Okay, so I got rid of it. All right, 20 and 30-year-old mindset. And so what worked on 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds, they're trying on us 40 and 50-year-olds,
right,
and getting hit with something they're not expecting. And so now we're rude because we don't tolerate it. I'm like, bruh. Okay, we have somebody that joined us. Who is that? Is that Dorothy?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Girl, no problem. We are just chatting. It's just real casual. We're just talking about these menses. These menses. So one of the things that, hold on a second. I'm just trying to set this thing up here.
So you hear a lot of background noise from me?
It's not crazy. No, it's not crazy at all.
Okay.
So we were just talking about people hitting us up in the DMs.
Oh,
so
that fun little time zone area.
Girlfriend. So what I was saying,
it's like a time warp.
It is. It's a time warp. What I was telling her is that I feel like, because she was saying that some of the people that hit her up in the DMs are vulgar. And I just find that not necessarily vulgar, but I find that a lot of the men that come into my DMs are just assuming that I'm interested. Like they'll say, okay, here's my number, call me. And I'm like, why would I call you? For what purpose am I calling you?
Right.
I don't want to call you. So what I think, and you guys chime in, let me know if you have a different experience. I think that they think that we are still stupid like we were in our 20s and our 30s. That's what I think.
Well, I will tell you, I've had many conversations about that thought right there, because I wonder, I'm like, how in the world do you fix your hands to type those things or to make these assumptions? And I think that because we are now in such a digital realm, that a lot of the things and the nuances that we used to rely upon for communication is gone.
Right.
And I think that, you know, it's now no longer a get to know you process. It's, okay, I've scrolled through your story. Okay, I've seen all of your information here. I've seen your pictures. I think I know you. And because I think I know you, I think I have a rapport. So therefore, a lot of this, hey, how are you? Tell me about yourself, is gone, because you assume that I am the persona that you see on my story. And that's not correct. And I think that there is just so much of just a lack of understanding of how to navigate this world. You know, the younger folks, they just don't get it, because they just, okay, Netflix and chill. Okay, honey, we got a whole lot to go before we think about Netflix and chill. But then you have the older guys who are like, this is all I got.
Right.
Hey, you know what? We can skip out all this other stuff. Let's go straight to Netflix and chill. It's like, no, bro, you don't even understand how to navigate the terrain at this point. And so I think there's just a lot of miscommunication where the nuance of chivalry and communication and how to actually speak to someone and get to know them is gone.
I agree with you. I think that is a very, well thought out assessment, because I kind of chalk it up to, they've been doing the same thing for the last 20 years, and this is what works for them. But I think you're onto something about it being the digital age and feeling like all of those barriers to entry have been removed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. It's like there's shortcuts. It's just easier to send a DM. You know, they'll ghost you. You check out your profiles, you know, your stories, etc., and then just shoot out probably 100 DMs to 100 different women and see which one sticks.
Girl, it's a numbers game.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game.
And because,
it's like, are you kidding me? I'm a grown ass woman. Are you serious?
well, I will be honest, and I'm going to have to say, I'm going to have to call out some of our beautiful, wonderful sisters, because there are way too many women that accept that foolishness, and they perpetuate it in the stance of, well, I'm an independent Black woman. That's beautiful and that's great. Thank you so much. I'm glad we all are. But at some point, you're going to have to say there still has to be a standard. There still has to be I'm not just my body. I'm not just this. I'm not going to tolerate these certain conversations and the way that you're speaking to me. A lot of that, I think, gets accepted. And so they're like, okay, if it worked on this chick, then maybe next one, it'll work on her too. But then you come and get someone like us and we're like, oh, no, sir. No, sir. That doesn't work. No, sir. And they're like, well, you're an anomaly. You're stuck up. You're okay. You know what? I think I just have to be stuck up and intelligent. See, that's why you Black women are all single. No, honey, having a standard doesn't make us so. It just means that you are not meeting our basic levels. So therefore, you're going to find someone who is on the level that you're looking for.
Right.
So I think it's also incumbent upon us as women to set the standard and let men know that, guess what? You can't approach me any kind of way, digitally or not. You have to come correct. Otherwise, don't even start typing the first letter.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. This is going to be very controversial. But, so to your point, do you feel like songs like WAP, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, do you think that feeds into that narrative that men can say whatever they want to say to us?
Honestly, I see it from a couple of different perspectives. I think, one, I can appreciate the fact that they were owning their sexuality as they normally do, and they were utilizing it for the purposes of marketing, creating an art, which it was an art form. And I think when we choose to take it out of the realm of art form and we say this is life, then it devalues the woman.
Keeping with the same theme of our kids, I think what we were saying earlier is that we are in a different space now. Most of our kids are getting ready to go to college. Like, we're just in a place where we are looking at a different phase of life, but our children are having to come to terms with the fact that we date and that we are sexual beings. My kids are not taking that well. How are your kids doing?
My daughter actually, before she graduated from high school, she knew she was going away to New York. She attends NYU. And she said, Mom, you need to go online dating because I'm going to be gone. You're going to be lonely. You need to start dating. But she was only giving me permission because she knew she was leaving.
Right.
So prior to that, no.
Right. I think that they're okay with the dating part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're okay with the you're a sexual person part.
Right. And
that's very difficult for them to wrap their brains around.
Right, right. And someone else, interrupting their groove and having the attention from their mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little difficult.
Dorothy?
Well, I will have to say I am becoming new to this whole thing. So having been divorced now for almost 2 years, it's been a beautiful space of just getting to know myself. But of course, my kids have never seen me with anyone else. And so they, in their mind, still have the fantasy of, okay, there's a slim chance and possibility that Mom and Dad will get back together. Nope, that's never happening. But, it's just now that they're starting to get glimpses that I feel comfortable, because I think it was a me thing for a while, that I'm now becoming a little bit more comfortable with the space of even allowing them to see me be thoughtful or have that thought of dating. You know, we haven't even gone anywhere else besides that, because for my family, that's like a huge, like, oh my God, wait, she's starting to date. Wait, who is this? You know, it's like they become like little private eyes, and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, and so we're not there yet.
Yeah.
We're there still, just coming to the concept and coming to the idea that, okay, what happens if and when mom starts dating?
Yeah.
So we're still new in that process.
Yeah.
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 But I had to get comfortable first.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
You know,
You have to get comfortable.
and just navigating.
For me, it took a while for me to be okay with them understanding that not only am I going out, because they know I've been divorced now for, what did I say, 8 years?
Yes.
So they're used to me dating. Like, that hasn't been an issue. I think up until now, me dating was a little different. Now that they're older and they're understanding things, they're like, oh, you're dating. Oh, you're dating.
Oh, you're now dating.
Dating. Okay. Like, it's different when your kids are 16 and 18. They're like,
right.
Okay, so what is okay,
Right.
It's a little bit of a different,
It's
different
different.
idea of just mom's going out with a friend to hang out. They just have a different
Right.
understanding, and they're nosy. The kids are just nosy,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Nosy. They
Yes,
go through my
they are.
stuff and they ask questions, and it's just, I'm at the place now where it's like, okay, if you find something that you didn't want to find, it's your fault.
Oh my goodness.
That's your fault. If you
True.
discover something about your mom that you didn't want to know, that is on you.
Exactly.
Okay.
At this point.
That will teach you not to go through stuff.
That will teach you not to go through my stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I like this stage, but I also struggle with how much access to give my children to this next stage of my life, right?
Right.
I don't want them to get distracted by my dating life, because the other thing too is I'm still figuring out what I want. I'm still figuring out if it is, if I'm looking for that next relationship to be a marriage, or if I'm just looking for this next stage to be someone that I have fun with. Now, I do know for me that I want monogamy, right? That's important to me. But I haven't decided that I want marriage, right? I don't know if that is what's next for me. And so I kind of want them out of that process. I don't want them asking questions because I don't know.
Right.
I don't really know, which makes me think about the fact that some people may feel like that makes you inconsistent if you don't know that you want marriage. I think that some of the men feel like you either want marriage or you don't.
I think that you have to meet someone who has all of the qualities you're looking for, and the characteristics in order to determine if you will get married. So if you meet the right person and there's synergy and, reciprocation, as I mentioned earlier, then you determine at that time if marriage is in the future. I think you have to meet that quality person first.
This is what I always said about women. I always said that when it comes to marriage, women marry the man of their dreams. Men marry the woman that is available when they're ready.
Interesting.
So I feel like men get to a place when they're ready and they go, well, this is the woman I'm with, so I'm going to propose.
Right.
Women say, this is the man that I want to be with, and this is the man I'm going to marry. So, yeah, I mean,
I'm not 100%
obviously
sure.
That's just my, that has been my interpretation. But Dorothy, you're You sound like you don't agree. So what's your experience?
I don't think that I necessarily disagree, but I would say that it really depends on the people and their experiences.
Okay.
Like there are a couple different things. So I'll go back to one thing and then I'll come back to that. So my first thing was just in terms of dating and children and being able to even navigate that, it's a little bit of a challenge because you don't want to be like, okay, here's mom's friend this week. Okay, I'm dating someone else. Okay, let me go see about this person. And just, that part for me has always been, I'm not going to do that with my kids. So they don't meet everyone who I'm speaking to or even getting to know. And I try to never bring anyone around, but at the same time, you still want them to be part of your life in some way as you're learning. And so for me, in the start of this process, that's kind of my challenge right now. But in terms of finding a future life partner, and even previous, when I was first married, my husband was not the man of my dreams. He was able to meet, I had these are the qualifications I'm looking for. These are the qualities I'm looking for. And I approached it a little bit more systematically. I said, okay, I want to get married within this time frame. And I kind of did the opposite of what you were saying, where it's like, I was like, okay, you meet this, 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 and this. And so at this point in time, you know what? I'm willing to forego these. So I want to be married. I want to have these goals. And I want these things to happen. So therefore, you know what? If you ask, we're at a good place. I think you could be a good life partner. We can grow together and move on from there. What I realized after divorce and after a lot of therapy and some work is that some of the things that I gave up were more important than I knew and more important than I realized. And even through the process of getting to know, I now have a better idea. So I say for myself, I definitely desire to marry, but now I'm a lot more clear about what I want. And so it's not going to be necessarily a thought of, okay, we're here, I'm ready to get married, let's go.
Right.
For me, it's more going to be, I'm very intentional in what I want. So I say, I eventually want to be married, but right now, I don't want marriage. What I'm looking for is someone that I can have as a companion, someone that I can do things. If it grows from there, great, but I won't enter any type of relationship with the intention of marrying.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what would you say, Vita, as far as that's concerned? Do you feel like women are more systematic with their choices? Do you think that men are thoughtful about who they choose to marry? Or do you feel that, like I feel that men, when they're ready to get married, they marry the person in the closest proximity?
Yeah, I agree that women are more systematic when it comes to who they select, get married to, and the timing. I think that because we have biological clocks, we tend to plan more than men. But yeah, I think that, men are very visual. So
yeah.
Yeah, so if they come across a woman, and they're ready to get married, and they come across a woman that they're attracted to, if those two are mesh, then I think they're going to get married. So,
yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So then let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with that having been said, let's say that there is someone who is in a long-term relationship. They've been dating for, call it, 5 to 7 years. Okay. And by all accounts, they technically should get married. However, within 6 months, they break up and he is now married to this next girl. So if in that space, technically he was ready to get married, he just didn't want to be with the person he was currently with, but then he found someone just completely new within 6 months of breaking up and gets married. What do you say about that?
I would say that's obviously something that can happen. And nothing is ever absolute, right? Even, my theory is not absolute. And if I'm being completely transparent, I told the guy I was telling you about that was younger, I told him, you need to find somebody who's younger. You need to find someone who's your age that you can build a life with. and we broke up, and within a month he was engaged to another woman. So we can have a whole conversation about whether he was with that woman before and he was cheating or whatever. But the point is, I was not ready for that relationship with him. I didn't want that with him.
Right.
And these are the things he wanted. He wanted a family. He wanted marriage. He wanted children. I didn't want those things. So he went and found someone who wanted those things. You know, and I think they're married now. I think they're married and pregnant now, which I'm super happy for, because that's what he wanted out of his life. But I really do believe that when men want to get married, they get married.
Oh,
you know, women want to get married, and they're like, okay, well, I want to get married, but they're waiting for that guy, that right one, that one who is willing to put in the work and commit. And I think also we're talking about women that are younger, possibly, than women that are in their 40s. I think in our 40s and 50s, we are more, we're more in control of that narrative. What I always tell men is that you're not the prize, homie. Hold up. Hold on. I'm the prize. So this whole, I should be happy.
Say that again.
I'm the prize, bro.
There you go.
So this whole conversation.
That's what women need to hear.
That's what they need to hear.
That's what women need to hear, because that's what women don't understand, and that's why they're chasing after some of these men. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be lonely. I blah blah blah. It's like, no, baby girl, you are the prize. You
are the prize, girl. You're the prize, girlfriend. So if you present me with the ring and you're not the right guy, I'm not jumping through hoops. I'm not excited.
Right.
You know, I'm just not. I'm in a different era. Right? When I was 20, a diamond might excite. Well, I can't really say that because my ex-husband proposed to me about 3 times before I said yes. However, most women, you know, in their 20s, you present them with a diamond, you're going to be so excited that you say yes, even if this is not the man of your dreams. In your 40s and 50s, I could buy my own diamond, homie.
Right.
Listen, I could buy my own diamond. I don't need you to buy me a diamond. That doesn't excite me. You know, I want a diamond from the person that I want to spend my life with. I don't want a diamond from man. It's just not, that's not exciting for me. I don't want a diamond from somebody who doesn't have the same goals as me. The person who is not on the same road that I'm on, is not trying to reach the same heights I'm trying to reach. I don't want a diamond. I don't want a diamond from somebody I got to take care of. You know, people don't want to hear that. But I don't want to take care of you. I got kids to take care of. At this point, you know, if we can't take care of each other and you're not self-sufficient enough that you don't need me to take care of you or to help you, bro, I don't need you. I don't want you. I don't need you. You know, there are women that do want you, because there are women that are desperate for a man in their lives. I'm not that chick.
Yeah.
So, you know, don't get mad at me because I'm not that chick. Don't be angry with me because that's not me. Just go find someone that fits that criteria.
Right.
Because what I'm looking for now is a partner. I want somebody that is going to build a legacy with me and leave something to the next generation. I don't want to spend the next 10 years of my life building you up.
Right.
I want to spend the next 10 years of my life building our empire, building our legacy, leaving something for our children. Even if, you know, we don't have children together, I want to leave a legacy for our children that we can say we did this, and our children are set for life.
Right.
Love don't pay bills.
You don't want to settle. You don't want to settle.
I don't want to settle.
Right.
And I told my daughter this, and she was very confused, but that's because she's 18. However, I don't want to marry someone for love. I have no interest in marrying you for love. Now, I want to marry somebody that I love, but the reason for me marrying you has nothing to do with the fact that I love you. However, I will not marry you if I don't love you. Does that make sense to you guys?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Right. So there's all these other things that go into play. I think that marriage is more of an agreement as to how we move in the world, how we go forward. And I think love is just love. There's going to be days that I feel like I don't love you. But I made a decision to love you, right? I made a decision that this is the person that I love. But there's going to be days I just don't feel it. But because I know I do, because I made the decision, I'm going to stay with you and we're going to figure this out. But that's not why we got married.
But I think a lot of it has to do, for me, I would have to say a lot of it has to do with being self-aware. I think there are a lot of people who need to do the work because we're talking about, okay, what are we going to do with the ring and do we want you or not? There are a lot of women and men who are in relationships just simply because, they are not self-aware of who they are and what they want and what they want their goals to be and how they want to go forward in their life. They get caught up in some situationship, or I'm going to throw it out there, some entanglement. And
entanglement.
I had to go there. I had to go there.
Love it.
Because they're not self-aware and they don't take the time to really focus on and think about, well, what do I want and why?
And I think that's the difference, right? I think that's the difference at this age and this stage. I think
Absolutely.
that you don't make your decisions the same as you did in your 20s and 30s.
Absolutely not.
We're a lot more thoughtful about who our mate is and why we chose them.
Yeah, because I believe we love ourselves, holistically, unconditionally. We figured out, what we like, what we don't like. And I think we have, when you mature and you get older and you learn from life experiences, you're able to make better decisions.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And just define, what works for you and what doesn't.
Yeah. You just haven't grown. So I think this conversation could go on forever, ladies.
Right.
We could talk about this forever. And we will continue to have this conversation. You guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight for Dating 40 and Beyond. I am so excited about embarking on this journey because I think there's so much more to talk about. People always ask me, do you think that there's enough information? Do you think there's enough topics? I'm like, girl, we could talk about this every day, 365 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we'll have enough information to talk about because we also didn't have any men on this conversation. So I think the perspective from men is going to be super important as we move forward. So once again, thank you guys for joining me on Dating 40 and Beyond. So I am going to conclude this episode of our very first podcast. Thank you, Vita, and thank you, Dorothy, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Great. Woo!
In the can. So love you. You guys have a good night.
Okay, good night. Take care.
You too.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye.